So these are the some of biases that as an employee we can think of when it comes to actually understanding employee behavior.
My name is Liaw. I'm an employment lawyer and a principal at Liaw Chambers.
What are the different type of biases an employee typically have that's important for the employer to know so that they can really understand their employee profile? The first bias is present bias. So what does it mean? We live in a world of, instant gratification, or we want immediate rewards. Employees are no different. An example is an employee receives an annual bonus of, let's say, 20,000 ringgit. Instead of putting 10,000 ringgit aside for savings or investments, they might say, okay, 20,000, let's go for a holiday to Japan or Korea, for example, fully utilizing the 20,000 ringgit bonus. This is an immediate benefit to that employee, but over the long term, that 20,000 can actually be saved or put into a savings plan or an investment plan whereby perhaps in the future, 10, 20 years down the road, that 20K could even grow to 30, 40K. So that's where the first bias is present bias, immediate reward at the expense of longer term benefit. The second one is status quo bias. Status quo bias is some employees are adverse or very hesitant to change. They prefer doing things a certain way, perhaps investing the certain way. Let's say if the company has a retirement plan and if the employee did not specify what specific plan they want to go to, usually the retirement money goes into a default plan. And the default plan is usually designed to take into account the average employee. However, different employees will have different stages in life. So let's say if I did not do my homework and just stick with the default choice, ultimately that status quo might not be beneficial to me in the long run. Because let's say if I'm young, in my early 20s, I actually can afford to take more risks in my portfolio. I can actually afford to invest in a riskier investment plan because I have that time horizon to catch up versus someone who's at the twilight of their career whereby they are looking at retirement over the next 5 years. It's a little bit different. So status quo bias, the hesitant to actually move around, that's another bias. The third one is loss aversion. Loss aversion meaning that I'm scared to lose money. Well, we all don't like to lose money, obviously, but naturally when we are investing into the markets, there are times that the market will go down, your portfolio might go down. But the scale, the amount that you lose, that is the key. For some people, they are able to tolerate larger losses. Some, no. So understanding different people's degree of loss aversion is important because that will actually inform how they would actually put their savings into what investment plan that they might think of. So that's loss aversion, the afraid to lose money essentially. The next one is overconfidence. So let's say an employee puts a certain amount of money into a small cap speculative stock that returns them 3 times the amount of their original investment. And they put it based on a hunch. It's just like betting on horses. They have not done any analysis. They just put it. They might think, oh, I've returned 3 times my money. I must be a good investor. But in reality, that's an overconfidence bias because they have not done the proper research, they have not done the proper analysis, and it actually involves a certain degree of luck to get that 3 times return on investment. It's dangerous because the employee might think, okay, this is the first time I get 3 times. The next time I might just take out more from my savings and pump into the next stock, thinking that, oh, I'm such a great stock picker, I'm able to make another 3 times, 4 times. And that's dangerous. That's a bias because should the market turn against that employee, they might lose a significant portion of their net worth. So that's another bias that we need to be aware of. The next one is herd behavior. So herd behavior is like following the crowd. For example, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is the trend right now. Everybody's investing. Friend A is investing, friend B is putting money into Bitcoin, friend C is putting into Bitcoin, but they're putting different amounts. While it's fine to follow the trend, what becomes dangerous is trying to follow up with the amount that you are investing in. So to give you an example, let's say your friend who has $10 million net worth, for example, and he can afford to put 100K onto Bitcoin. Well, myself, I only have 100K net worth, and for me to follow my friend and put 100K is dangerous because I'm actually putting 100% of my net worth. So that's another bias that we need to make sure that, yes, it's fine to follow the trend, there's nothing wrong, but we want to make sure that as we follow, we appropriately size your investment and not just put everything just because you want to follow the trend and make money like your friend. And finally, the last bias is procrastination. So delaying important financial decisions or financial actions. So let's say I'm in my 30s this year. Yes, I still got 20, 30 years in my career to go. And I say, oh, 20, 30 years, long way more. Why do I need to worry about retirement? Why do I need to worry about contributing to my employer's retirement plan? So I procrastinate. As years go by, I'm 35, I'm 40, I'm 45, I'm 50. Sooner or later, I realize, hey, in 5 years' time, I'm going to retire. But actually, I do not have a significant or sizable balance for me to retire. So that's procrastination. And that's a bias that as an employer, we want to try to assist the employee with, especially if you want the employee to grow with your organization, i.e. to be along the journey of growth. You want to make sure that towards the end, as they retire with your company, company, they actually retire with a sizable retirement balance to enjoy their later years. So these are the some of biases that as an employee we can think of when it comes to actually understanding employee behavior.
So from what Paul has shared, I think the first lesson I've already gathered is that different employees exist in a company. Different employees with different profile and with different appetite towards risk. Their view on finances also differ. So I think it's very important. The first lesson is for employers that you all actually reward or try to attract employees with the right type of financial incentive. So some employees may be more keen, more biased towards the present, more biased towards the short term. They seek for instant gratification. These people may appreciate just more money, such as overtime, attendance incentive payout, more than some long-term investment that you can offer to these employees. So by offering something that, oh, if you work with us for 10 years, you will get these things, it's not attractive to them. They want the money now. So by offering these things, you just pay money without actually achieving any objective. You actually don't make them more motivated or loyal to you because they are just here for the short. Now, on the other hand, some other employees may be more risk taker. They are more willing to try and get a big return as opposed to a small immediate return. So these employees may be more attracted to the shares of the company. You give them shares, they will say, hey, that's better than giving me cash because I believe in the long-term vision of the company. I believe that if I work hard, this company can go public listed one day. You will be so much richer one day. So you offer these employees this kind of incentive. So the lesson here is really seriously go through your employees and identify what kind of employees they are, what's their appetite and what's their feeling toward finances, so that you can actually tailor your financial incentive, the right one to the right person. It's the same like when we say the love language. You need to express using the correct love language to the right person. Otherwise, you're just wasting money with no outcome.